Cold City. Many thanks for joining us on our breakfast show live on ETV channel 50. Also streaming live on Star Times 113 and free to air TV 502. Today we shall be having the spotlight, the newspaper review segment, and the entertainment segment, the whole lot in just 1 hour of the show today on this station. Remember to follow us on our social media handles on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Enugu ESBS, on Instagram, Enugu ESBS, on Facebook, ESBS Enugu. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch most of our programs at ESBS Enugu 042. My name is Ngozika Mba, welcoming you to today's breakfast show, this July the 3rd, Wednesday, the 184th day of the year, and 181 days remaining until the year ends. Stay tuned, we shall be back and begin with the spotlight. And at that time, I shall be telling you who would be on the spotlight and the focus of the spotlight. Good morning, Cold City. Good morning, Cold City. Thanks for joining us on the spotlight this beautiful Wednesday morning. I'm sure you won't be worried about the weather or not, depending on your attitude to weather issues. There are persons that the rains will stop, but it's not ending right now. The rains will still be on most of the day. I mean, we are in the middle of the rainy season in this part, and that is to be expected. It is time for the spotlight. Thanks again for joining us. We have the good fortunes of hosting the Honorable Commissioner for Labor and Employment in Enugu State in the person of pharmacist Chika Ugoke. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you very much.
Okay, Enugu State Ministry of Labor and Employment in perspective would be on the spotlight as myself and Chioma anchor this segment. And then right away, Honorable Commissioner, there's always been Ministry of Labor and Employment in Enugu State. Yes, we know it's been on in Nigeria and in most states. What did you meet on ground? You are about 1 year in office, barely 1 year in office, or not up to anyway. What did you meet on ground? What did you meet on ground?
First of all, good morning, Jose and Chioma. I'm quite happy to be here, and good morning, Enugu people. The Ministry of Labor and Employment was actually rechristened under the government of His Excellency Dr. Peter.
Yes, productivity.
Yeah. So there's still that identity crisis,
Okay.
you know, where some people refer to it as labor and productivity, and others labor and employment. But that is immaterial. What we met on ground is a system that indicates the intentional determination of Enugu State in its uniqueness to pay attention to the importance of the labor force in its governance structure. Enugu State is one of the very few states. I think we are just 3 states in Nigeria that have this ministry in place, and that goes a long way to show you that it is not an area where lots of states in Nigeria pay attention to in terms of its contribution to economic growth. So it was set up in 2011, and ever since then it's been continually developing. So what we met on ground is a system that is still a journey in progress. It's work in progress. So we met on ground what I think I would describe as an infrastructure that has been put in place that required more action from every government to ensure continuity of the implementation of processes that would continue to yield benefit for the people of Enugu State. Now, you know that the broad governance objectives of His Excellency Dr. Peter Mba is economy focused. So we came on board knowing fully well that there is a single focus, which is to grow the economy of Enugu State from where it is currently to the 30 billion mark that the governor has set. So we hit the ground running in this mission in full alignment with the objective of His Excellency Governor Peter Ndubisi. So, and that is where we are now. In less than 1 year in office, we've been able to achieve quite a lot.
All right, we will get to the point of talking about your achievement, but we will also want to understand what the mandate of the ministry is, most especially as there's a appendage to the regional nomenclature, that's productivity. So the mandate, sir.
Okay, now there are 15 clear mandates of the Ministry of Labour and Employment, but I'm not going to start listing them one by one, but I want to say that the 15 mandates can all be summarized in very few words. First of all, under the mandate, it is our responsibility to ensure that there is harmony between the government and the instruments of labor unions and leadership in the states. It is within our mandate to ensure the welfare and safety of workers of Enugu states. It is also within our mandate to ensure the implementation of labor policies from the federal level, drawing it down to the state level. You know, this capture, in summary, what our focus is on as far as the Ministry of Labour and Employment is. So we are focused on ensuring that in Enugu State, our workers are treated with utmost care, and that is why His Excellency the Governor made it a #1 priority to look after the welfare of our workers. So we ensure harmony, we deal with labor policies and implementations, we ensure the welfare of the workers of Enugu State, both in the public and the private sector.
Okay, I think it's the right time to talk about your achievement. What have you been on with? I know that there are no grievances from Enugu workers, but let's hear it from you.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't take any credit for the achievements. I give it all to His Excellency, the Governor of the state, who gave us a very clear assignment. And what we are seeing in Enugu State currently, in terms of labor harmony with the government, is not by accident. It is an intentionally worked out plan that is yielding fruits for the people of Enugu State, because we know that for any economy to grow, that labor, as we all were taught in our elementary and secondary education, is a factor of one of the 4 factors of production. So in our states, Governor made it very clear from day one, and we all keyed into it, that this factor of production, which translates to a buoyant economy, is an area we are not going to take for granted. So we came on board, first of all, engaged the stakeholders, the key stakeholders in the labor industry. And then we also realized that where the world is going to now, in terms of global economic growth, that we needed to actually know who are these people that we are dealing with. And we knew the importance of data collection, and that was where we started from. So what we started with was to, first of all, try and collate under one single platform the identity of what we would refer to as the labor force, the working age population of Enugu State. So we started with establishing an employability data collection process. That was our first assignment. So we did that between September last year and finished around January. And we were able to set up a platform where you can come to and look at data and be able to isolate, depending on what demographics you want to use, isolate people, Enugu citizens, from this database for the purposes of shaping government policies and programs. Many of them are interventionist in nature. So that is one thing that we have been able to achieve within the last 1 year. Then also the broad objective of His Excellency's government also has a pattern. We are adopting a very collaborative approach to labor issues, and that has meant that we have gone beyond the boundaries of Enugu State to interact and collaborate with institutions from both the public and the private sector. We are interacting with the National Directorate of Employment. We're interacting with the International Labour Organization. We're interacting with the National Productivity Center. And all these are instruments that we are using in order to make sense of the data that we have created already in the first place. So, consequent upon that, we are also interacting with players from the private sector, especially within the state. We have individual institutions like the Copen Academy, like the Potter's Wheel Foundation, and a couple of them that we are working with, because the key focus is to approach productivity from a multifaceted point of view. So we know the characteristics of our labor force makeup. We know that the government cannot provide jobs for everybody. As a matter of fact, the formal sector only provides employment for about 8% of the entire population. So what do we do with the rest? The governor had to work out, of course, utilizing us in the ministry, to work out an approach that would ensure that we do not rely heavily on government alone to provide jobs for our people. So based on the interactions that we are, collaborative interactions we are having with other institutions outside government, we've been able to at least get a clear direction where we are going to, especially leaning towards the private sector. So in our continuation of that same process, we have also set up what we know now. You must have seen the adverts here and there, and I encourage you to also help us push this message to reach the actual targets within the rural and urban communities.
Commissioner, we are in business.
So currently now in Nigeria, we are one of the 3 states that I know that has an unemployment register that is functional. There is an online unemployment register that is currently functional. It was just launched last month, and that was a product of all the efforts we started making with data collection, with employability, information gathering and all that, and we've been able to. So it is still an ongoing, it's a live platform that Enugu State's indigenes are keen into. So currently we've been able to train about 1,200 people that were harvested from that platform.
The unemployment.
Right. Yes. The Ministry of Science and Technology, the Ministry of Human Development and Poverty Alleviation, the SDGs, everybody is now coming to harvest from that pool of human resources that we are creating. I'm not saying that we are done with it. It is, of course, you know that every day people are migrating from the non-working age population into the working age population. People are graduating from the various institutions we have in Enugu State. People are relocating because Enugu is now becoming more attractive to both our indigenes and outsiders. And as all these people continue to pour in, there are people who will be coming in to search for jobs in Enugu State. So that is also one of what I consider the major achievements that we've been able to establish within the last 1 year. Now, this complements the huge work that the governor is doing in the areas of infrastructural development. And I tell you how this is connected. If you come to a society and you want to grow the economy, but you have people that are not skilled to fit into some of the projects that you intend to utilize to grow your economy. What you notice is that you will now begin to import the labor force. And we know that in our states, just like it is in other parts of Nigeria, that unemployment is a big issue. So you look at the programs that the governor has lined up, road construction, construction of smart schools, primary health centers, the International Conference Center, five-star hotels. Who are the people that will actually be engaged in these projects? Construction stimulates the economy. And if we are not prepared as a state to train our people to be able to play in this industry, other people will come and take it. And I have been very, very clear about this message that employment is not just about government jobs. That we have to be conscious of the fact that all the activities of the governor are providing opportunities for our people to get engaged. So this is one message that we are pushing out there for our people, both young and not so young, to key into all the efforts of the governor. Is that I feel really sorry for some young men when they come to the office or they call me on the phone and they tell me they are looking for work. And I say, what are you doing now? Yes, I have a barbing salon. I mean, you should
and
be.
he doesn't think it's
yeah, he
work
doesn't
enough.
think it's work. You should be an employer of level. That we have prepared you, training you in school, and you've been able to start a small business. But in the person's mind,
It's more.
yeah, there is more to it. Yeah, so we are also giving this reorientation to our people, especially the young ones, to know that they are also governors and commissioners in this government, and that they have a huge role to play.
All right, sir.
So-
We're very much interested in the unemployment list that you said is ongoing at
Yes.
this point.
Yes.
Now, how do you come up with this list? Are people registering or people who are not employed? How is it done? Are people submitting their credentials to say we don't have jobs before they are added? What's the process like?
Okay, now the process originally started manually, where we, across the 260 wards in the state, we sent out forms, employability data collection forms. And these were run through the local governments down to the wards. Every person that is living in Enugu State has a ward, a political ward. So we made sure that we collaborated with both the traditional institutions, the ward councillors, and the religious institutions to ensure that as much as possible, these forms would permeate all across both the urban and the rural areas. And then those data came back, and we started working on them. It took a whole lot to clean up and to filter and then upload those data. But we know that we have just scratched the surface. And then we decided to migrate it online. I mean, the subscription rate of internet services in our state is high.
It's high.
Yeah.
It's quite high.
So we know that in order to achieve what we want to achieve, it is best that we bring it to the platform that is reachable to everybody. And then we created,
Especially young people.
especially young people, who make up a greater majority of unemployed people in our state. So we created that platform, and it's so easy for them to access the platform, get themselves registered, adding all the relevant data that we think are important in assessing in analyzing the demographics that we need to work with. So on that platform, they should be able to put in their name, their local government areas, their educational qualifications, their current employment status, their NIN, and all of those. The whole essence is that we can do a lot with that data. We can we will be able to isolate people that need further training depending on certain targeted industrial needs. We should be able to identify people that need interventions. For example, more than 9,000 youths of our states quite recently were beneficiaries of the conditional cash grants, the presidential. Because we operate in an ecosystem. We are working with the SME Center, we are working with the SDGs, we are working across different ministries. So when these things come, we don't need to start grouping. We already have our. So it is.
Database.
Yes, yes. So it's a platform that is very easy to access. We don't ask too many questions there. So we make it friendly. And beyond that, if you need assistance, the door of the ministry is open. We have engaged people that are there, as we currently speak, to help people who need help getting on that platform.
What's the name of this platform? Because say I'm online as a youth looking at us right now,
Yeah.
and they are online.
Yeah.
What can they type?
It's EnuguEmploymentHub.com.
Enugu
Employment Hub.
Employmenthub.com.
Yes.
So the moment they go to EnuguEmploymentHub.com, there's a
They
place
will
where they
land,
can.
yeah, they will land straight. I've told them to make it quite simple. As you're landing on the page, it's taking you to the registration portal. And once you do that, it falls back to our back end, and then they are analyzed and utilized.
All right.
Yeah. So we are calling on media houses to assist us.
Like
you
I
know,
said
no,
earlier,
no. When you say you're a business, it means we have to pay for it. But what we want is,
Or
you know,
or you do
patriotic.
more of these sensitization
Yes,
programs.
yes.
That's
yes, we
what,
have.
because a lot of young persons, like
Yeah.
you rightly said, we have them in numbers that are
Yes.
unemployed.
Yes.
They make the
Yes.
the majority of the unemployed persons,
Of course.
and they listen, they watch.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I think you have to do more sensitization,
Yeah.
whichever
We,
way
we,
it goes.
we are on it.
Okay.
Nice.
We are getting a lot of feedback, by the way.
Okay.
Within the past 27 days, we've had over 20,000 engagements,
Amazing.
both from within and outside the country. So people are hearing, people are seeing it, and what makes me quite excited is that people trust this government. It's not you know, like just
You're
a
not
normal.
playing politics
Yeah.
for
We're not
everything.
playing politics. This is a government that is serious-minded and cares so much about the unemployed as well as the employed, even the
As
civil
well as
servants.
the employee.
Yes,
We
yes.
will get back to that. But right now, because you've been talking about the unemployed, and then in passing you mentioned the artisan who already had a business but did not think that his business is good enough, probably because he's not thriving, or he thinks getting paid from a public government job will go better for him other than what he earns every day. Let's talk about what's your ministry, because they are in labor sector as well, the artisans. Are there trainings, are there grants, are there things your ministry is doing to, as now that those in civil service are agitating for the minimum wage increment, they won't talk to anybody about, they have nobody to talk to about increasing anything. They either have to increase their tariff, okay, for whatever scale they are giving the public in service, or they stay out of business. So are there things for them? Are there a package for the artisans?
Yes, absolutely. This is the interesting part. The governor himself is a private sector player, and I have to tell you also that I'm coming from the private sector. So that is our domain. We all started from somewhere, and we know what we all went through, and we know how governments could help to bolster the individual efforts we are putting into our private businesses in order to make it grow. I don't mean to downplay the importance of the civil service, but our economy actually would thrive more if we support our private sector, the artisans. So we are looking at this whole thing from a very comprehensive point of view, that we need those from the public sector, we need those from the private sector. We are looking at the youth in particular. So in order to support them, first of all, we are very much focused on skill acquisition and training. We started in December last year. We commissioned a fashion skill acquisition center. And the whole essence, why the governor had to make sure that this was done, is that we don't take any sector for granted. So that we can build the platform from where we can train and churn out more artisans. for our state. We are collaborating with the National Directorate of Employment, who have the human resources capabilities to also train artisans. We last month we collaborated with Copen Academy and enrolled more than 400 youth of Enugu State in trainings on tiling and electrical installation. 2 months ago, we were in Nsukka, where we collaborated with the Entrepreneurial Development Center from Lagos Business School to train young women and youth on general business skills. Just teaching them how to start up your business and how to make it grow, how to sustain it. By next month, we will be collaborating. This is just take note of the collaborative aspect. That is one formula of this government that is working. The senator representing Enugu West, Senator Sitangu, we are having a discussion because we want to train between 100 and 500 youth from his constituency. It is my ministry that approached him, and we are now working out something that will be happening in Wo in the next 1 or 2 months. We are also planning to do such a similar thing in Enugu East. So we are doing quite a lot. But the key thing is that the young boys and girls of our states are in a place where they need serious reorientation. Right? To believe that you can start small and grow big. And that is huge work for us as a state. So in my ministry, we are plugging in and playing our own role. And as I said earlier, we operate in an ecosystem. The SME Center, headed by my very good friend and brother, Arin Zechilota, we are working very close together. The governor is also focused on digital skills training. So the focus is to train up to 10,000 youths of our states per annum on digital skills. Because while we are looking at the artisans, we are also looking at where the global economy is headed. We need to prepare our young men and women to be able to play in that space. So a lot of collaboration and activities are going on. We are working with ANAMCO to develop a vocational capacity development project inside their facilities. So a whole lot is going on. But of course, you know that these are intangibles. It's not like we are constructing roads and we'll say, come and see, we have done. Human capacity building is something that you may not see, but the results will reflect. Of course, that you know that youth unemployment manifests in restiveness, criminalities, insecurity, all these things. And you can see that in Enugu State, all these things are coming down. And we don't owe it to any other thing outside all these efforts that we are making. We may not be conscious of the fact that these things are working. But the fact that we are building 520 structures in Enugu State, in terms just with smart schools and PHCs, it means that if we are employing at least 50 youth per site, we are taking away 26,000 people. And you know that a gang of 3 can terrorize this whole city where people are running away from. So we're also expecting that investors will be coming into Enugu State. People that will be coming to run these hotels and all that. They are the people that are going to absorb these people. So we are preparing them, encouraging them, come on board, we identify your need, we train you, and then we pass you on. Our collaborations are working. The NDE called some months ago and asked for us to send, they had a slot for Enugu State. And we had to collaborate with them to push our people for them to train. The training is done, we are now waiting for the empowerment. So a whole lot is happening that may not be quite
very tangible.
But
at the moment, because a time will come when people will say, I got trained under a certain administration, I got employed under a certain administration, and maybe we will not know right away.
You know, the thing with our government, he's not a glory chaser at all. He will tell you that he wants to, possibly he wants to be remembered in the next 20 years, in the next 50 years. Just like we are remembering, just like we are remembering M.I. Obarana. We didn't meet him. So such legacies are his focus. not really trying to impress people in the images.
Yeah, so your ministry seems to be doing so much, but so far, like Ngozi mentioned earlier, not a lot of people know.
Yeah.
But this has a lot to do with human capital development,
Yeah.
so sensitization actually needs to be done.
Yeah.
So earlier while you were speaking, you said something about workers' welfare.
Mhm.
You know, what would motivate young people to even want to work is how the people who are working already are faring. All right, so so far, what can you say your ministry has done to improve the welfare of workers in Enugu State?
Okay. Now, I guess you are referring to the public sector, more or less, the organized public sector
Yes.
employees.
Mhm.
This government has done more than any other government, as far as I am aware, in terms of focusing on ensuring that our workers are happy and motivated. The governor was sworn in May last year, and in June, the first set of people he had an engagement with was the state workers at the state secretariat, and there and then he committed himself to their welfare. And when I came in and was assigned to that position, I felt like I had a lot of work to do because my own dad was a civil servant. I know what he went through. So we have a very clear attitude towards workers' welfare, and it is manifesting. By the time we came in, pensioners were complaining about gratuity. People were agitating about minimum wage. People in the health sector. I'm also a pharmacist, so people were complaining about CONHES payments, all sorts of complaints. So it was in my second day in office that I called some of these people for a meeting, and we sat down and I told them that everything will be all right. And I can tell you that if nothing had been done, they were all poised for war. And it would have been a big embarrassment. It would have set the government back in terms of moving with the speed that they had anticipated. So the governor has cleared, first of all, cleared the areas of the pensions at the time. And the minimum wage thing wasn't a problem. We no longer hear about people who owed salary in the States. Actually, you can attest to that. And the moment the wage, the temporary wage improvement package came from the federal system, our state was among the very first states to key into that, and it's been implemented. So while we are waiting for the new minimum wage, there is no issue of salary being delayed or salary not being paid in Enugu State. We have done verification. This is talking about pension areas now, because that's a very naughty area where a lot of things isn't going quite right. The records need to be cleaned up. The record needs cleaning up, and I'm not going to say so much in that direction because it's still an ongoing process. But I can tell you that it is a whole lot of work. So the local government verification happened sometime in March. The state's verification process began in May this year. These processes are ongoing with the aim of clearing all the backlog and then making sure that those who have labored for us in the past as Enugu indigenes do not get rewarded with anything unpleasant. Then also in the medical, in our hospitals, there were these complaints coming from everybody, nurses, pharmacists, medical lab scientists, we call them allied health professionals. The governor gave approval for 100% implementation of some of those issues that they have been agitating for so long in their work lifespan. So those are things that have been intentionally done to make sure that the welfare of our workers are put as priority. We are also training and retraining them in order to be more productive. A training package for civil servants was just concluded some weeks ago, where we needed to bring them up to like the basic. Yes, where you go into the ministry, you see a head of PRS that doesn't know how to
Use the
operate a
computer.
computer. So how productive can that person be? So through this digital economy section of the government, we've been able to bring these people up to a stage where their productivity would be improved. We are also working with the National Productivity Center, and they told me that this would be the third state in the entire country that has approached them for us to work together.
Partner.
Yes, and they are coming. The governor just gave approval for that. We got the approval yesterday.
Amazing.
And by next month, we'll be organizing a productivity enhancement training, because we want to establish a model in the state where we will be able to track productivity. Because it's not just about getting employment. And I must tell you this, most of the people that want to come into civil service, especially the young ones, they want to plug in so that they are earning money.
Just that.
Just that.
Nobody's after
It's not,
productivity.
yes. So if you interview them, you know that just come on, you know, hoping that one day I will become a director or a palm sec. But they get that job, they leave it and go and be doing their keke business or doing their other businesses. So, but by the time we are done, in the next 4 to 8 years, if you want to work, you are into work.
Yeah.
And that will translate to a productive economy for us.
And of course, they will be well paid, and
Oh,
they
yes.
would even they won't have a reason not
Sure.
to.
Yeah,
to
I
work.
was hoping
Sure.
we
Yeah.
could find time to really talk about the reason it's the civil servants, those in public service appear to be the disadvantage when we talk about remuneration and all of those, but we do not have that time. I think what we should be talking about is the future of the Ministry of Labour, Employment and Productivity in Enugu State. As
I
we
think I like
conclude.
that. You have joined the whole name together. That's okay. Right. That's
All
fine.
right,
Yeah.
the future.
I see a very beautiful future under the administration of His Excellency Dr. Pitamba and beyond. Because what I see him doing is, you know, he wants to ring fence Enugu State and make it a shining example for the entire country, and build robust infrastructures that would support such a boost in our economy. And once the economy is thriving, everybody starts enjoying. And I am sure the civil servants will not be left behind. I see a future where we will no longer be relying on the minimum wage package coming from the federal government, where Enugu will be able to support its workforce and become the attraction for more workers, skilled workers, to come into the state from outside. And of course, that is also going to contribute to boosting our economy. So my advice to our civil servants is that while we are expecting the government to do their part, we should also know that we have a part to play to build our future where collectively all of us will be enjoying the process of a good economy. And I am making reference to productivity. It is very key. For our workers, they need to understand and believe in the fact that we can support the governor to make this work. And that is the only guarantee we have of building a sustainable system where Enugu State civil servants will be different from any other civil servants across the country, simply because they have worked very hard, they have become very productive, and they are rewarded with very handsome rewards.
I feel like saying amen because
Amen.
it sounded like
I mean,
prayer.
like a
Yes,
prayer, it
yes,
does.
yes, we could
Yeah, I
make it
mean-
happen.
All right,
Yeah.
that's pharmacist Chika Ugoke, the Honorable Commissioner for Labour, Employment and Productivity in Enugu State. Sir, it's been a pleasure talking with you.
Mine too. Thank
Thank
you so much.
for being around.
Thank you.
Okay, our focus was on Enugu State Ministry of Labour and Employment, Ministry of Labour, Employment and Productivity in perspective. We're rising from the spotlight this morning. Our subsequent segment will come after the break. Stay with us till Good Morning, Cold City. so
Thank you so
much.
much.